Last episode, we finally got the oil pan dropped. So in this episode, we're fixing all the oil leaks, being the oil pan, the rear main seal. We're replacing the oil pump, replacing the oil pickup, and then getting this thing all back together. So enjoy the episode. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace. I folded. I was gonna use the two-piece oil pan gasket, but I didn't want to risk it with RTV, especially because of how much of a pain in the ass this job was. I figured if I was gonna do it, I might as well do this right the first time. Let's go ahead and get to it, cleaning up this pan. Per the usual, making a massive mess in everything I do, but we have the pan off, cleaned up, spray painted. Honestly, it wasn't perfectly clean, but I gave it a coat anyway. It's fine, it doesn't really matter that much. Also cleaned out the top lip, so it's ready for the new gasket once that's in place. So next we have to get up under the car, clean up the bottom of the block for where the gasket was. And then it's just taking out that cap so I can get to the remain seal. So let's get to it. Turns out 40-year-old gasket on the bottom of a head is not very easy to clean up. This seems like this was gonna be the struggle for today, so either way it goes, it's just gasket, right? So we'll clean it off. Just gonna take some time grinding it out. BRB.
One eternity later.
Late night vibes. For some reason I couldn't sleep tonight, so I'm out in the garage. I randomly got the idea to look at the oil pump and the pickup tube to check the condition of it. I honestly don't even know what made it pop into my head, but here we are. Of course it's not good, but it's not the end of the world either. But the screen for the pickup tube has 2,000 metric tons of gunk in it. And the oil pump and the pickup tube, the screen is like caved in, kind of wild. I mean, it's for the most part clean. You can see some chunks in it. You can see the scratches on it. So I tried pulling the pickup tube out so I can just use the oil pump and just replace the pickup tube just because that's a more cost-effective way to go about it. But of course, that thing's the original oil pump. It's been in there for 40 years. That pickup tube is absolutely seized. So it seems now the move is most likely gonna be just getting or upgrading the pump to a melting pump and pickup tube. So $70 that I wasn't expecting to have to spend, but honestly, I think for the life of the motor, it's probably better to just swap out the oil pump while we're in here anyways. So seems like that's the move. So yeah, we're gonna be throwing this thing back together tomorrow, but now we're gonna be ordering that stuff. So we'll have to wait an extra day until we get the oil pump. Then we'll just throw all this stuff back in and send it back together.
A few moments later.
It's time to go ahead and take care of this rear main seal. So I've been dreading doing this. I've been going back and forth on if I really wanted to, mainly because of the implications. I've never done anything like this, obviously, and so I didn't want to mess it up and, throw a bearing or something when I start the car up again. But at this point, it's no turning back now. We're doing the oil pump, the pickup tube. We might as well just go ahead and fix it all while we're in here. So I'm gonna get up under here now, take off the bolts for the cap, and we're just gonna see what happens. Admittedly, I don't really like filming while I'm under the car. It feels weird, it's kind of awkward. But we got the cap off. Honestly, I don't know about this bearing. This is kind of what I was afraid of with taking the cap off, is that the bearing was gonna be trash and then I'd wanna swap all of them out while I'm here and all that jazz. So I don't know, I have to do my homework on that to make sure it's good. And then also Looking up into the seat area. So there's that. No, I just need to get the bearing out, or not the bearing, I just need to get the gasket out for the rear main, for the top and the bottom, because on the thing, it's kind of seized in there. So I got to get that out, and then I'll figure out how to get the top part of it out as well. Maybe I'll just do the bottom. I'm not really sure yet. Huh? Chances are I'll do both. I just need to look at it more and figure out what to do.
A few moments later.
I got caught up trying to make sure that the bearing was good because it has some light scoring, so I wanted to make sure that was straight. I got caught up and I got the remain seal out, and from messing with it, I'm pretty confident that it was leaking now because the thing was super brittle. On my first attempt trying to pull it, it literally broke off on the edge. So yeah, I'm pretty confident that was leaking. And also from the bearing, it does have scoring, but fingernail doesn't catch, so that shouldn't be an issue. So now I'm gonna go ahead and try to get the top part out. And honestly, I'm not confident in actually getting that thing pulled over the crankshaft. So I'm not really sure how people get that thing out, and I don't have a pick, but we're gonna get that thing out one way or another, even if I have to make a tool run. So let's get to it. I'm gonna spare y'all the struggle talk, and I'm just gonna get to this. I can already tell there's gonna be a battle, mainly because it's awkward, but it's gonna take a while. So spare you the struggle talk, as well as the death by time lapse. I'll check back when we get that off.
A few moments later.
I swear working on cars is like great for the confidence because, struggle aside, I always end up finding success in this shit. So that was honestly way more difficult than it needed to be for those who eventually try to do the same job. For the most, I ran to the store and got plastic picks. I didn't need picks. Don't waste your time running to the store. Just get a smaller flathead screwdriver and stick it between the metal lip. So the gasket has a metal lip inside of it. Maybe it's steel, aluminum, whatever. You have to find that. So maybe pick at it a little bit until you can expose that, and then wedge that small flathead screwdriver in between that lip, and then just pry it forward. And as you're prying it, it'll pull down at the same time. And then you can just use a pair of pliers and pull it the rest of the way out. That's what I did. It worked flawlessly after establishing that that lip was there. I was confused because I was pressing on the outside of that thinking that was the motor, but obviously it wasn't. So yeah, simple. I overcomplicated it mainly because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So me trying to give advice to y'all probably know better than I do as far as getting this thing out. So whatever. The top part of the remain seal back on. For the record, I put oil on both the inside and the outside to help that get seated. Pushed in super easy, so I think that's a good thing. So now I'm about to do the same thing with the bottom half. Then I'm gonna lube up the bearing cap. Then I'm gonna throw this thing back together. I kind of fumbled, and that's my bad. So I went ahead and got the rear cap back on. I need to torque it down now. That's kind of my bad. I was kind of just locked in, waiting for the gasket to cure, and then whatever, I just started putting it on. So yeah, it's already on for the most part, so now I'm just torquing it down. I got the bolts hand tight. Online, it said the procedure is going 20 pounds first, then 50, or 25 pounds first, then 50, then 70 or 75. So now it's hand tight, so I just gotta start torquing it down, and then we should be good. After that, it's set to turn the engine by hand to make sure there's no binding, so I'll also do that. After that, we're done for today, and then it's just waiting for the oil pump to come in tomorrow, and then we'll be putting this thing back together. Exciting stuff. Let's get to it. All right, and with that, the remain seal job is done. So we need to get up top, spin it, make sure there's no binding, which it might honestly be because I never pulled the spark plug, so it still has compression. Really, I just want to make sure there's no grinding or anything like that. Should have just taken out the spark plugs, to be honest. That was pretty much a full rotation. The front of the engine is pretty much right back to where it was. There was a little expected binding from the compression. But yeah, so pretty sure that's good. So we're gonna go ahead and call that a done deal. Actually, I'm gonna go up under the car and look at it just to make sure everything is still solid. And then we'll be done for the night. New melting stuff has arrived. Time to go ahead and install it.
A few moments later.
It's not something I could do on my own, so we took it to a shop, got it pressed in and welded. So now let's throw it in. Something I've been unsure about since I ordered the oil pump was getting them both on the oil pump and the oil pan without issue. And so reading online, people said that it should be fine just putting the oil pump on, and then the pan should slide past it going back in, although it was impossible coming out. So I'm gonna try just hand tightening the oil pump with the pickup and the rod and everything, and seeing if I can slide the pan by it. And if not, then I'm just gonna have to put the pan on first and then, finagle the oil pump and pickup on afterward, which honestly, it shouldn't be that bad. The only issue is torquing it, but I think I'll be able to get that thing tight enough to where I don't have to worry about it coming back off. Before we reinstall everything, went ahead and cleaned off the pan. For sure this time. Last time I thought I did, but I definitely did not. So yeah, had another pass at it. All good there. Oil pump right there. So now we're just gonna go ahead and throw this on or mock it up. And then if everything goes on smooth, then we'll just throw it on the rest of the way.
So now I'm just bolting up the oil pump and then trying the oil pan afterward to see if it'll work. It didn't work at all. It wasn't gonna work. It was never gonna work. But I figured it was worth a try to see if it would.
Yeah, it's not gonna be possible at all. There's literally the light's not gonna show it good, but I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches of space between the pickup and the white pipes. I'm gonna have to finagle both on with the oil pan already on. It is what it is.
So now we're trying to install the oil pump as well as the oil pan at once. So obviously we have to get the gasket on first. And then I was just trying to finesse them both on. This took way longer than it needed to. I didn't think there was gonna be another way to put it on, so I was trying for a while. But eventually I gave up on this. It was worth a try, but it was never gonna work, so yeah.
To get both of those in and installed at once requires a level of finesse that I don't have. So I think I'm just gonna have to drop the Y pipe. I think that's gonna give me enough room to be able to do it. Yeah, it is what it is. It's gonna be more work that I'm gonna have to do to get it done, but after I do all this, it'll be easier in the long run, so it is what it is. So let's just go ahead and get it done. Y pipe off once again. So we're gonna go ahead and get the oil pump back in, torque to spec, and then get the oil pan on.
Attacking the oil pan finally after getting the Y pipe off, or trying it again, I guess. We went ahead and installed the oil pump first, obviously, because that was the only real way to get that thing on. I don't know how anyone gets it done with the pan at the same time. And then when we tried to get the pan on, we noticed it wasn't clearing. So this wasn't good, obviously, and we needed to approach it a different way. So long story less long, I tried to finesse it and raising it up more, and then I ended up making things worse for myself with the engine mounts the engine went over the engine mount, so then took way too much time to fix that. But we eventually figured that out and got the engine back on the mounts. So then we used the floor jack, as you can see here, lifted up the rear of the engine, and then everything went super smooth, and we were able to get the oil pan on, get all the bolts on, and torque to spec. Yeah, so it's back together now. Super easy.
And just like that, we're done. Finally, we got the oil pan back on, everything bolted up, tightened, torqued to spec, secure. It's finished. That was a hell of a job, but we got it done. We persevered in the end. There might be a week that we miss just because we're waiting to order parts. We've had tons of tire kickers for the trans. No one's come out to get it, so that's really the delay at this point, is selling the trans to get the parts. Part of me wants to just order the parts, but I don't want to either. I'd rather keep the project funds within the project, but we'll see. I don't want to delay too long, so we may have to skip a week. We'll see. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you do all the YouTuber stuff, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.